Today we're talking about preventing scratches and swirls. You just got done washing your car, the only thing left to do is drying it, so you're in the clear, right? Wrong. The drying step actually is another risk factor for putting more damage into your paint. We're gonna show you how to minimize the risk. So this video is all about drying, minimizing drying risks. However, we will say go back and watch our videos on the 2-bucket wash system. If you have any leftover grit, grime, or residue from your mitt or from your bucket wash, that makes drying more risky. So even though we're talking about drying, make sure your wash technique is on point. And then this will minimize any risk with drying. Keep in mind, even light pressure can put swirls and scratches in your paint. So whenever you're doing anything to your car, always remember least pressure possible in any scenario. We recommend using an air gun or a leaf blower, electric leaf blower, to get the majority of the water off your paint. This is because there's actually no direct contact with anything on your paint. So any risk of dirt or pollen or anything that's fallen on your car since you've washed it is pretty much minimized because the only thing going over there is air. We know not everybody has one of these, but if you do, it's a great tool to dry your car. While electric blowers are great, the majority of people are drying their cars with premium drying towels. These high GSM towels will safely remove the majority of the water off your car and also minimize any risk of swirls and scratches in your paint. If you've done all the steps correctly, this is a very safe way of drying your car. And even with electric blowers, there's lots of nooks and crannies that will hide water that a towel is still needed. So the proper technique is still necessary with towels. If you're using a drying towel to dry your car, the safest technique is the place and pat method. So you put that down, let the towel do its job, and you pat dry. The benefit of this is there's no movement of the towel across the surface, so if there is any contaminants, we're not putting any drag there. But I gotta be honest, that takes a long time and it's kind of a pain in the butt to dry an entire car that way. We get a little, I mean, this is a large towel, probably a 2x3, and it does a good job, but I gotta be honest, my preferred method is a little bit of pulling. Now, this is a little bit reminiscent of the old school chamois technique, but with this material, with this kind of drying towel, it is much safer for your surface. Couple tips here. You're gonna let the weight of the towel do the work. Don't put any unnecessary pressure on this. Simply let the weight of the towel sit on the car and just lightly pull it across. And you can see there's basically, if there's anything left, it's a very, very thin layer of water evenly placed and it'll dry very, very quickly. So the flat surfaces are pretty straightforward with the pull technique, the pat and dry. On some of the harder surfaces with some contours of the vertical surface, you can still do a little bit of a drag and pull with the weight of that towel. Again, I'm not putting any pressure, I'm just pulling across here to get the major surfaces. And again, with you know, a soft drying towel, it's okay to get, this is a good area for the pat method. You know, it's hard to drag across these little crevices, so you can just do the pat technique to get excess water off door jambs, window sills, things like that, side view mirrors. And these areas what we want to avoid is kind of the tendency to get into this area where there's a lot of ease to push your weight into this and then drag them across. You don't want to do that. Again, weight of the towel only, especially in areas down here that tend to be dirtier. If you missed any spots in your car, it's likely going to be down here. You don't want to drag your towel across that and then cause scratches in those areas. Another thing you can do to reduce the risk of scratching is using a detailer or a drying aid during your towel process. The other advantage there is you're also going to be applying some protection as you dry your car, both in one step. So quick detailers will do two things. They'll add some lubricity to reduce that risk. They'll also break the bead water tension to help more water get off more quickly. For this technique, simply spray a small amount across the surface you're drying and then dry as usual. And I can already tell that's sliding a lot easier than with just the towel. Finally, keep in mind to keep your drying towel in premium condition. When you're washing, never use harsh detergents, stay away from fabric softeners and dryer sheets. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.